and good morning to our dear listener and live viewers on YouTube. This is Radio Tinker FM, a place for intellectual and scientific discussion while listening and vibing to song with your favorite hosts, Saidatul and Yishan. So, catfish breeding and culture in Malaysia has evolved from traditional farming of native species to a large scale of commercial industry which dominated by species such as African catfish, which largely due to the development of induced breeding technique in the late 1980s.
So, today on our morning segment, What Do Fish, where we invite a guest speaker to our studio to have an insight on the fish industry and the fishing community. And today, we have managed to get in touch with the brilliant mind of our country. Let's welcome Dr. Lim Gui Ping from Malaysia Department of Fisheries. She has been involved in the conservative and breeding efforts to preserve the catfish species Pangasius nascitus, or more commonly known as patin buah.
So, hi everyone, good morning. Thank you for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure to join the Radio Tinker FM. I'm excited to share about our work, especially regarding the Malaysia treasured freshwater species, the patin buah.
We are honored to invite you to our radio show. We already know that there's a wide variety of catfish found and consumed in Malaysia, such as ikan baung, ikan bandaraya, and ikan keli. So, what makes ikan patin buah so valuable and important in Malaysia? And so, to fuel that discussion, let me start with a question. Where did patin buah come from, and what pushed your team to conduct a breeding program on patin buah?
Patin buah used to be commonly found in Sungai Pahang and Sungai Perak, but the population is almost extinct in Malaysia. The species is a native local species and also part of the country's natural heritage. The cultivation helps conservation efforts and also reduce pressure on wild populations. It's also considered to be a premium species with high market price because the flesh is white, thick, and tasty. Traditionally, patin buah is said to have a more delicious flavor and firmer flesh texture because of the natural diet, which includes shellfish, fruits that fall into the river, insects, which is part of their diet.
Thank you for clarifying that. It's surprising to learn that such a valuable native species is now so hard to find in the wild. Since you mentioned that the population is almost extinct, I think many listeners would be curious to know what actually caused such a drastic decline. Why did patin buah almost go extinct in Malaysia?
There is still a small population in Sungai Pahang, but it is decreasing because of the degrading water quality of the river. It is unsuitable for the growth of patin buah. It is also known that the bad water quality can lead to parasite infection. Currently, no population is found in Sungai Perak because of the formation of the dam. It disturbs the reproduction and egg-laying process of the fish. Furthermore, patin buah is a fish species that is sensitive to its surroundings. Therefore, it requires a good water quality to be able to live and grow efficiently.
That's a serious situation, and it really shows how fragile this species is. But even after bringing patin buah into aquaculture, I believe the challenges don't end there, right? In fact, health and disease management must play a major role in keeping them alive and to grow them well. So, based on your experience, what is the most common disease affecting patin buah?
Based on my experience, the most common disease affecting patin buah is a parasite infection on the fish gill. It reduces the fish breathing abilities. The parasite infection normally occurs because of the bad water quality and drastic changes in water temperature, such as during the morning or afternoon. The temperature is around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. However, at the night it's around 20 to 21 degrees Celsius. The parasite attack usually happens to the fish at a size of 3 to 4 inches or at the 3 months of age. Following the parasite infection, many other infections like bacteria or other pathogens can easily infect the fish. The infection is severe enough that if one fish gets it, it could kill the whole population of the fish in the pool or tank.
That's very interesting and quite alarming to hear that a small infection on the gills could affect the whole population of the species in the tank. How dangerous. So, what was the measure taken and how do you solve this issue?
The Malaysia Department of Fisheries solved this problem by regularly monitor and maintain the water quality to avoid the infection. The department also responsible to preserve and increase the population of patin buah in Malaysia. We help in making the seed of the fish and distributing to the farmers so that the farmer don't buy it from other hatcheries in other countries such as Thailand, which may or may not contain the infection. Fisheries department also make sure that the condition of each seed given to the farmers is do not contain the disease so that the disease is not spread out to other species. We normally use the salt and formalin to clean the seed and ensure that it is disease free.
It's good to hear that strict monitoring and clean seed distribution are part of the process. But aside from these preventive steps, I wonder, do you apply any selective breeding or special practices to improve disease resistance in your patin buah stock?
Currently, we are not doing any genetic engineering or modification of patin buah because we want to preserve the original gene of the species. However, we did do selective breeding to choose the best competent broodstock with high survivability and good growth rate.
Wow, that was an amazing discussion about patin buah. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today, Dr. Lim Whipping.
Thank you also for having me. I'm glad to share what we have learned, and I hope this could help more farmers and listeners to appreciate the value of our native species.
And to our listeners, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it and follow us for more insights on aquaculture and local innovations. Until next time, stay curious and support our local species.